Hey everybody, welcome to MAWS Talks Wrestling, Episode 4. I'm your co-host, Lunakage.
And I'm the other co-host, Glenburg. What's up, guys?
And what a sad week it's been so far in wrestling.
Terrible.
And it's interesting because after such high hopes, being all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the Royal Rumble, everything just kind of comes crashing down, and it's not just the disappointment in the Rumble, but so many other things that have just kind of been so depressing.
All in 1 week.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that, but I guess first things first, we had a pay-per-view, so I guess we should talk about it. Go down the card. Luckily, this is our first review, I guess you could say. So this one doesn't have that many matches because it's a Royal Rumble. There was only 4 matches?
Yeah, just
5, I think, counting the pre-show.
Yeah, counting the pre-show. Outlaws.
All right, so I guess we should get started on that. We don't want to start it off on the low note right away, but first match. By the way, I was 3 out of 5 in my predictions last week. I could have been 5 out of 5 if I didn't let my marking out cloud my judgment, but I ended up 3 out of 5. First was the pre-show. New Age Outlaws challenging the Rhodes Brothers for the tag team titles. And the New Age Outlaws ended up winning. So they are now 6-time WWE Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, it does help them, especially coming back. It makes them interesting so that they're not just around for the moment. And it was obvious they were going to win it.
Yeah, but this kind of brings up something that's kind of sad. And again, we're going to talk about it later. But kind of, the thing about the New Age Outlaws, I see a lot of people not happy with them being champions in 2014, and I don't really understand. I mean, the Rhodes Brothers needed to lose it. They needed to lose it soon if they were going to have their singles match at Mania. And, what better way to lose it than lose it to established legends who are still good? It's not like they're showing up like Vader during that attempted return he tried to do a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
All fat and tripping and falling off.
Yeah,
He was always fat. But.
Tripping on the ring mat.
Right. But they're good. They can still do it. So it's going to be, at least I think, because it is WrestleMania, so they might, just not put the tag team titles on the line at WrestleMania like they do a lot. But assuming they do, maybe it might be even better if the Usos end up winning it at WrestleMania. Like, what better way to win their first tag team titles?
They have
Yeah.
They have like the biggest potential to win the championships.
Honestly, and we'll get to this later, but they're pretty much the only ones they can give the tag team championships to.
Yeah.
We'll get to that a little later, but the next match was the first match on the pay-per-view. It was Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt ended up winning, like I predicted. And it was a good match, too. It was a clean finish, which I was really surprised about.
And that counter.
Yeah, but it was a really good match. And the Sister Abigail on the barricade, that was sick shit.
That was a nice catch.
Yeah, the catch right into the counter. And what I liked was the added, maybe it's me reading into it too much, but when he rolled him into the ring, instead of pinning him right away, he used another Sister Abigail on him, kind of like to make sure that there was no way he was getting out,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if Bryan would have been pinned by the Sister Abigail on the outside, he still wouldn't have looked that bad because holy shit. But making him take a second one after getting put back in the ring kind of helped out a little bit, instead of just like, oh, he lost to the first finishing move, it wasn't false finishes up the ass, shit like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they still kind of made it look, they didn't make him look weak with that. He took a really, really bad shot with that.
Yeah, they didn't make it look like just an environmental risk led to the victory or something.
Right. But, yeah, it was a good match. It was pretty much the match of the pay-per-view.
I believe so, too.
Yeah, it was the best match on the card. And due to it being the opening match and Bryan losing, it almost all but confirmed that, oh, man, he's going to come back in the Royal Rumble and probably win it. That's what I was like, oh, man, this is going to happen. Like, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen.
People marking out because they know he's going to be in the Rumble. And
then the next match, if you can call it that, was Brock Lesnar versus Big Show. And this is another one that I predicted correctly. Brock Lesnar ended up winning, but I don't remember, because it started off with just Brock Lesnar beating the shit out of Big Show. Before the bell rang, they made sure to let you know that the match didn't start yet. That's why Brock Lesnar wasn't getting disqualified.
Mm-hmm.
But, Brock Lesnar just started beating the shit out of him with a chair.
Yeah.
Before the match started. Now, what I noticed, or maybe what I didn't notice, depending, but I never heard that first bell ring.
I didn't either.
Yeah, so technically the match never started? Maybe?
It kind of reminds me of situations where, when the referee looks like they did a 3 count, but then it's really a 2 count. Like they hit their hand, they hit their hand on the mat 3 times, but they're like, oh shit, it's really supposed to be a 2 count.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't call that a good match, but it was pretty. It wasn't bad. The match between the two of those guys, it was mostly a beating, but it was cool because after taking that initial beating by Brock Lesnar, Big Show hits him with the knockout punch.
That was the hype part. I thought he actually got him.
Yeah, but he didn't fall flat. He staggered, fell to the floor, started. He never got knocked out by it, and it was cool that the announcers were playing that up pretty good. And then the match went short. Eventually, Brock Lesnar hit the F5, kind of, on the Big Show, and I say kind of because I don't think he's ever hit the actual facebuster F5 on the Big Show. Like, he always ends up turning onto his back, so it's kind of like the F5 neckbreaker or something. But hit the F5 on the Big Show, beat him like that, and proceeded to beat the hell out of him with a chair, breaking a chair, and it was a little much, but I guess that was all right. It didn't really do much for me, but because Brock Lesnar doesn't really need anybody, any weapon to fuck somebody up. What I wish he would have done though is after he went out and then the Big Show started walking back up. He was walking after taking an hour-long beating with chairs.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted Brock Lesnar to run out and then put him in the
clip his leg or something in there,
put him in the Kimura lock and then break his arm too. It's fuck it, just build a collection of broken bones while you're at it.
Right.
Okay, so the next match was my first loss here, I guess you could say, because I thought John Cena was going to win. I just kind of had this feeling that he might, get one. But John Cena lost, and what's funny is that the crowd just shat all over this match.
Man.
And I say it's funny because, the match started off kind of slow, but that's the style these guys normally work together. But the match itself really wasn't that bad. I'm not a huge fan of either one of these guys. As a matter of fact, I think Randy Orton's one of the most boring motherfuckers on the card. I'd much rather watch John Cena against anybody.
He's like a perfectly generic wrestler.
Yeah, like it's funny because I believe it's JBL always says that if you were to build the perfect sports entertainer from the ground up, he would look like Randy Orton. And all that means to me is that, oh, so he's the generic mass production model. You know, everyone can have one. You know, fucking put him on the assembly line and shit. But
put his arms up slowly.
The thing that kind of struck me as funny here is that these two did their best to be the Attitude Era as far as like match progression.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like they would each try their own finishers. They would either get reversed or kicked out. Then they'd use each other's finishers.
Right.
And they'd kick out. And then the finish finally came when Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family came out, distracted John Cena. He got RKO'd, setting up obviously the Bray Wyatt versus John Cena match at WrestleMania that has been rumored. And I still think it's way too early to put Bray Wyatt against Heat Killer John Cena. Because if John Cena does what he did with the Nexus, Bray Wyatt might not be around for much longer.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing in the match was the STF that Orton applied on Cena. It wasn't just an STF, it was an STF headlock. Like, Randy Orton loves his headlocks so much that he managed to make his own STF with it.
ST headlock.
Yeah. So, I mean, the match wasn't super bad. Like, it wasn't anything super special, but, you know, it was one of those things kind of like with, like I said, with the Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar match.
I exactly was thinking that.
Yeah, the crowd definitely made it worse, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They're doing what they wanted to do, saying, hey, we don't want to see these two guys for the title. And absolutely not. I don't want to see those two guys for the title either. So yeah, like if that's what you need to do to get it across the heads of the people in the back, then by all means go for it. I don't think they're hearing it, but whatever.
Yeah, I think the Wyatts was the only way they would get out of that match, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh man, during the match, the crowd chants just started getting ridiculous. Do you remember hearing the "We Want Divas" chant?
Yeah.
That was absolutely amazing. That's the best chant I've ever heard. That tops the "We Are Awesome" chant that we heard at the Raw after WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's amazing. We Want Divas. I'm surprised like Canada or fucking Chicago didn't think of something like that in order to shit on a match, because what could possibly tell the wrestlers in the ring that you don't want to see this match? I know. I prefer divas.
I want a divas match longer than a minute and a half.
Yeah. I'd rather watch a divas match than this one. Let's see Alicia Fox. I don't even want good divas. I want Alicia Fox versus fucking Oksana.
Right. Iron Man match.
Right. Oh, jeez. Fucking hell.
It's like watches everywhere.
So that match, yeah. But that's my opinion on it. It wasn't a bad match, but the crowd definitely made it so that you couldn't take it seriously.
After we've seen a rivalry for so many years, of course not.
Yeah. Right. I mean, they've had that same match numerous times, but I mean, and I kind of liken it to this. If you think back to the Attitude Era, and how many times Stone Cold fought The Rock, you know, they fought each other. They didn't fight each other a whole hell of a lot, but it is considered the greatest rivalry, or at least one of the greatest rivalries in WWE history.
Yeah.
So, like, imagine that, but stretch it out over 10 years. Eventually, and, you know, maybe people will disagree with me on this because it's The Rock and Stone Cold, but if you see two guys in the main event facing each other hundreds of times, eventually, I don't care who it is, you're gonna get a little bored with it. Now, compounded with the fact that it's two people that stopped being interesting after the third year that they had the rivalry, then they really get pissed off. Because like match quality alone, people would rather see Stone Cold versus The Rock match 367.5 as opposed to Randy Orton versus John Cena match 13.
Right, and they know each other's style so much by now that it's no surprise.
Yeah. I'm surprised they even have to talk to each other in the ring. It's like, hey, we've done this so many times. We should just, shoot each other looks and see what works out and shit.
Right. Looks are macros towards like what they do.
Right. All right. So the Royal Rumble match, and once again, I was wrong on this one. It didn't end up being CM Punk, but part of me knew that was going to be the case anyway. There's just always, a part of me that's going to hope. But it ended up being Batista being the winner. Final four was CM Punk, who had been in there for 50 minutes by then.
The entire
CM Punk, the returning Sheamus, Roman Reigns, and Batista.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, Batista, I think he was number 27,
I think
26?
he's 28, I believe.
28, wow. So he had only been in there for maybe 15 minutes at the most, I think. And he was already exhausted.
Right. He should have been the freshest dude in that ring.
Yeah, and what's funny is that it's not like Batista works a style where you're going to just completely get blown out like that. I think, and I'm a fat, out of shape dude, I think that I can handle working the Royal Rumble as Batista. If I was just told to run in there, stomp around I'm some big shit, and then just casually throw people over the rope, I don't think I would break that much of a sweat, personally. I don't know. I'm not a wrestler. I wish I was. But yeah, he looked bad out there. I guess that's fine. I don't know. Apparently WWE wants him in their main event, so whatever. Punk ends up getting eliminated immediately by Kane.
It's a silly-ass elimination, too.
Yeah. Sheamus was out next. So the final two were Batista and EX Batista.
EX Batista.
Yeah, because Roman Reigns, I haven't seen this guy without a shirt yet because I don't watch, I never saw his old stuff.
Right.
But I imagine he's going to be like everything Batista wishes he was.
Uh-huh.
Because Batista is Batista. He's always going to be a strong dude with, he's really big, tough. I'm Monster Batista. But Roman Reigns, he has all that. He's got his own power move as a finisher, the spear. He throws himself into you. That shit's going to hurt.
Right. That Superman punch.
Yeah, but and that's what I was about to say. Roman Reigns, despite the fact that he is a big guy, and his skills as a whole are kind of overshadowed by the two guys he works with, but he's still probably the most entertaining big man that I've seen in a while.
I agree.
Because he's got charisma too. When I saw him pump his fist like a shotgun.
Right. That was awesome on Raw.
Yeah, oh man, I was like, I'm kind of getting into this now.
It reminds me when you get to create a finisher on the SmackDown games.
Yeah,
WWE games.
The Superman punch in general, that alone is a move that you're not really going to see a big man do. And it's not like it's, this huge big deal like he's doing 50 flips or something. But, he's doing a big jump and punching you in the face.
Like something out of an action movie.
Yeah, if Batista did a big jump and tried to punch you in the face, he might tear a quad. I'm not saying he is, but he might. He doesn't. And seeing a big guy willing to fly around like that and actually, use speed and quickness. It's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
I can't really remember the last big man that liked to do stuff like that.
Oh,
I mean, The Undertaker, I guess, counts because he likes to do planchas and stuff, but...
yeah. I just remember that drop kick that Roman Reigns does when
Yeah,
I love that move. And
Yeah.
just, especially on Raw, he styled with it. Like, he actually drop kicked and landed on the mat and
Yeah.
then put his hair back. Like, yeah, I did that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he did that at the Rumble before he even got into the ring. Like, as his entrance was coming out, he ran up, and like his way to get into the ring was just to do that fucking drop kick and just roll in. And I think it might have been on Rollins, which immediately was like, damn, he's just fucking. He's like, yeah, fuck you, just immediately.
No.
He's like, oh, your head's right there. Sorry, bro, I'm gonna kick it off right now.
The sickest way to enter a ring.
Yeah. So basically, and I don't know what was up with Punk, but he didn't really have a good show. Justifiably so. He's been having his own problems in recent months,
Right.
and to be the first guy and to make it into the Final Four, even with a bunch of rest spots, you're going to be a little tired. He didn't come in at number 28 like our main event. But yeah, I think overall, Roman Reigns was kind of the star of the Rumble.
Just like Survivor Series.
Yeah, he was definitely, he broke Kane's single bout record. Kane got 11 wins and 11 eliminations in one Rumble in, what was it, 2000, 1999, I forget.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns came out and broke that by one. So now the new record for the most eliminations in a single Rumble is Roman Reigns with 12.
Updated.
So, yeah. So I mean that's pretty cool. I'm all for letting old guys keep their records and stuff, but when you want to get over a new guy without making him actually win, that's a pretty good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Roman Reigns, if WWE doesn't decide to push this guy, then they need to slap the hell out of themselves.
And another thing that I guess that pretty much covers it for the Rumble. Batista's Batista. He won. He's going to main event WrestleMania. Big deal. I don't want to see Batista versus Orton for the fucking World Heavyweight Championship in the main event at WrestleMania. And I don't know a whole lot of people that do.
No.
But if that's what they want to go with, fuck it. Let them go with it.
WrestleMania 30, sponsored by Triple H and Friends.
Triple H. I mean, a lot of WrestleManias since 20, I think, have been like that. Like, just, 20 was Triple H, Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels, triple threat for the world title.
Yeah.
21, Triple H and Batista, world title. 22, John Cena, Triple H. Like in 23, John Cena, Shawn Michaels. 24 finally breaks the mold. You got Edge versus The Undertaker, so that was pretty cool.
Right.
But the WWE Championship match, I think it was John Cena, Randy Orton, Triple H.
Oh my gosh.
25, Triple H versus Randy Orton, WWE Championship. 26, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, which, again, Shawn Michaels, Triple H's friend. Though, I mean, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, after the year before that, hell yeah, you put that as the main event. Why not? 27, The Miz and John Cena, a.k.a. The Rock versus John Cena 0. WrestleMania 28, The Rock versus John Cena 1. 29, Rock versus John Cena 2. So basically, it's Triple H and Friends featuring John Cena. The last 9 WrestleManias, and even before that, what was that? Before that was 19. It was Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. So there's that. But then immediately before that, at 18, was Chris Jericho versus Triple H. So I mean,
yeah.
ever since the official end of the Attitude Era WrestleMania 17, which many people consider the best, you've pretty much had Triple H and Friends featuring John Cena, with the exception of Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, and then Undertaker versus Edge. Only 2 WrestleManias since 17 that didn't feature Triple H, one of Triple H's buddies, or John Cena. I think it's time for a change, man. I really do. And like I said earlier with the whole Rock versus Steve Austin thing, we got to see Steve Austin, Stone Cold versus The Rock for 3 WrestleManias. I believe 3. What was it? 15.
I know 19 was like the one for sure.
We got to see it at 15 in the main event. We got to see 17 in the main event, and then 19. It wasn't the main event, but it was in there.
Yeah,
so
Hollywood Rock.
So as far as the main event goes, we saw The Rock versus Steve Austin. One of the greatest rivalries of all time. Main event 2 WrestleManias. Triple H has main evented too many WrestleManias.
I knew that was coming.
And again, I don't hate Triple H. Like, a lot of people hate him. They're like, oh, he shouldn't use a sledgehammer. He should use a shovel.
Burying people.
Yeah, like I can understand where they're coming from, but I don't hate the guy. Like he's still, like, whenever he comes back, I still get hyped because he's probably because he's one of my dad's personal favorites. But I don't hate the guy. It's just that I want to see some motherfucking fresh faces in the main event at WrestleMania.
Not who you expect, and that's already in the top.
Yeah, like, come on. Batista comes back, 4-year hiatus, immediately wins the Rumble. The guy can barely fucking breathe.
Yeah, the best part-time job that pisses everybody else off.
Yeah. Okay, so there was a huge backlash from that. Like, the fact that Bryan wasn't even in the Rumble. This backlash was so huge that when Rey Mysterio came in at number 30, people booed Rey Mysterio.
And he got eliminated, like, shortly after, too.
Yeah, it's like it was a wasted spot. He was like, hi, guys, what's up? Oh, shit, looks like I'm done. Like, man, like, so many people were so pissed off. And the funny thing is, like, people, they're like, oh, the smart crowd are the only ones that don't like it. The only people that don't like Batista are the smarks. Well, fucking Vince hates the internet so much, the internet wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Who isn't an internet wrestling fan now?
With social media, everyone basically is.
This is the fucking internet era. Dude, you are 5 years old and you've been on the internet. The second you, like, it doesn't matter, the little Jimmys fucking in the arena, 5 years old, seeing it for, like, the first time, like, oh man, I love fucking Triple H, he's the best, he's bald now, like, he didn't even know that Triple H used to have long hair. You take that guy who's officially a mark because they don't know that it's fake yet, they're going to go home on the internet and say, man, I loved wrestling. Let's look up more wrestling. And then, boom, they're an internet fan instantly.
Well, I don't understand. Why do they hate him so much?
Yeah, I don't understand this whole stigma that Vince has against internet fans. It's not fucking 1980 anymore, okay? Mm-hmm. Fucking internet fans, everyone is an internet fan. You cannot be a non-internet fan. And at some point, and it's not even like, even if you're just going to take it at face value and be like, well, they didn't buy a ticket. That's what I mean by internet fans. They stream. They don't pay for pay-per-views or buy tickets. What about the motherfuckers that are in the building that are booing the shit out of your product
Right.
and chanting yes and Daniel Bryan. What about them?
And we want divas.
Yeah, they bought a ticket.
They get just as much. They get just as much say.
Right. They bought a ticket. They're not internet fans, quote unquote. So don't they matter? No, apparently not. They booed the shit out of fucking Batista winning the Rumble.
Yeah, WWE, I think they still operate with an old mentality. Like they tried to use what may have worked 5+ years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like, but this new generation with social media, it's not going to work the same. Just because they don't think Daniel Bryan represents the company doesn't mean that's what's best for business.
And this whole thing with social media, that's another example. Like, Vince hates the internet fan. Yet what happens every episode of Raw or every episode of SmackDown? They advertise Twitter. They advertise the WWE app. So they're turning... They're basically saying, oh, we hate internet fans, but we want you to be an internet fan.
It's pretty much that they had to do it in order to compete. Nowadays, they couldn't just been without social media, you know.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, it seems like it's such a backwards way of looking at things now. Like, you got a guy that's been around when my dad was still a sperm, and he's running a business in the year 2014, and it's not to say he's not doing it well, because he's still making all kinds of money, but I mean, like, you gotta change with the times. It's really aggravating.
You think he still knows the business the best way possible? Somebody else can come in and tell you something different that might actually fit this generation.
I mean, yeah, but he's too stubborn to realize it. He doesn't have any competition. TNA's not competition. Ring of Honor's not competition. So who gives a shit? Either you watch WWE or you don't matter. And that's the thing that sucks. Like, we need a WCW to just come up, kick Vince's ass in the ratings even once, and then suddenly, bam, we got fucking good TV again. That's all it takes.
Like if TNA and Ring of Honor joined forces or something.
TNA and Ring of Honor joined forces, they still would pull less ratings than fucking Wednesday night main event.
That's terrible.
You know, it is, but that's just how it is, and it's a little irritating, and I don't know why. With the advent of the internet, it'd be so much easier to make this shit accessible, but for some reason it's not, and I don't understand. I'm not a promoter, so I don't know the ins and outs, but it just blows my mind.
I don't know how they choose the creative team either. I don't know if they just get people who like to write stories but not actually wrestling fans, you know?
I mean, from what I hear, and I don't know, but from what I hear, the WWE writers are all Hollywood writers.
Oh, I see. So it's going to look like bullshit anyway.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
On to more depressing news. CM Punk, I guess, got fed up and left.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about this. I've been looking up basically anything I could find, and I'm not really going to contribute to an argument, but all I heard is that he wasn't happy after the Rumble. He was yelling some stuff about passing the concussion tests, and he wasn't going to tell fans that BS, and now he's gone. He's been removed from all future Raws and SmackDowns and house shows, and there's no word on what's going on.
Yeah, it's a combination of things. Like, I know he was already starting to get burnt out, but I know he definitely wasn't happy with the creative decisions.
Yeah, from what I heard, and again, this is just what I hear, what I've heard. So I don't know for a fact. So take this with a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I heard happened was that he was actually supposed to win the Rumble and main event WrestleMania this year. At, I guess some way throughout the year they made the decision to go ahead and do that. And then Batista coming back, I guess it was in his contract or whatever, I don't know, that he win the Rumble and main event WrestleMania. So Punk got shafted so that they could bring Brock Lesnar. If only. Punk got shafted so that they could bring Batista back. And that's only one of the things. Again, that's just what I heard, speculation. I don't know any facts. So, again, just take what you hear here as a grain of salt.
Almost had his main event at WrestleMania, but it got cut short.
Oh man, it's so sad. And like I think this might be part of a genius CM Punk, because CM Punk's a smart guy. He's stubborn, but he's smart.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what he's thinking. He's thinking, hey, they brought back Batista, who was barely one of the top 4 guys back when he was relevant. And now suddenly he gets a main event spot at WrestleMania after being gone. Well, you know what? I'm going to be gone for a year, and then I'll come back. And then they'll be like, oh, my God, we want you to win the Rumble and main event WrestleMania. We can't have any of these guys that are always on the card doing that. That'd be too boring.
Right.
We need a guy like CM Punk who has been out for a year.
Right.
And that might be the greatest mind of all time. But I guess time will tell. I'm hoping he's not gone for too long because, like I've said before, he's my top guy. So
And
he brought me back to WWE after the Benoit shit. And, Benoit was my favorite before. So when that happened, I was gone pretty good. On top of Benoit was just the Cena and Orton show. So, like, I was pretty jaded for a while, but thanks to the fucking pipe bomb, man, I was brought back. So, just knowing that he might be gone already, because I was already nervous about him talking about retiring, and that's, I knew that was going to come. Obviously, nobody can stick around forever unless your last name is Cena. But, I just didn't want it to happen so soon, man. Come on. I guess it's selfish of me, but fuck.
Well, no, Punk, he's a great performer, and
yeah,
he's different from the obvious model of what's supposed to be a top wrestler.
He's the rebel. He's literally Degeneration X rolled up into one for the PG era.
Right.
He talked the kind of shit that needed to be talked, and I always bring up the promo he had with Kevin Nash where. Kevin Nash is like, would you like to see the text on my telephone? Would you like to see the text that my little sister Shalene sent me?
I remember that.
OMG, Kevin Nash, WTF, thought he was dead, LOL. that shit was just pure gold, man. That's the kind of, like, silly comedy that is just, it's not John Cena, but it's so close to being that. Because it's PG comedy, and it still made me laugh, and I'm an adult. I'm 24 years old, and I still, giggled like a fucking schoolgirl at that shit.
Couldn't help but laugh at that.
Right. So I guess he's gone. He could be gone for a while, and from what... The thing about CM Punk, he takes his straight edge, and he cranks that shit up to 11. I guess he doesn't take any kind of medication, so that means no painkillers. Like, I even identify as straight edge because I don't smoke, don't do drugs, none of that shit.
Yeah.
But if a doctor tells me, hey, you got to take this, I'll be like, all right, you're the doctor,
All right.
But apparently, a professional fucking wrestler whose job is to get thrown around on a daily basis
And not take painkillers.
Does not take any form of painkillers, that shit is ridiculous. Like, kudos to him if that's actually the case and he doesn't take anything, because holy shit, you get me sick and I'm fucking chugging NyQuil. I don't do any kind of drugs, but oh man, whenever there's actually an ailment, if a drug is required to fix me, I use it to fix me. But this guy goes in raw, and it's so fucking respectable, but there's no way in fuck I'd ever put myself through that. I mean, it's possible that CM Punk's never had a kidney stone, but maybe if he ever does, he'll start to rethink his position on that.
Oh God, that would be
Yeah.
painful without anything.
Oh my God, fucking kidney. Oh Jesus, I've had 2, and trust me, that's not. I can't even relive it. All right, but enough about me. That was, I guess, that's really all we got to say about CM Punk. I don't want to go too rampant on speculation because, again, it's just all dirt sheet stuff. It could end up being completely false. We don't know. I guess we'll see as the month goes by.
I guess the only main thing we know is it's not a play or not a work. Like, he just took some time off to come back.
Yeah.
So he did leave. So.
I mean, I see a lot of conflicting sides. Like, some people say he needs to rest. Some people say he's just a whiny bitch that didn't get his way. And, like, I could see both sides of the argument, even though I don't agree with that particular one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's take it for what it is, man. Hopefully we see him back, but I'm just hoping he's all right, first and foremost.
Right, yeah.
All right, and on to more depressing news. Slightly less depressing as far as actual people goes, but more depressing is in the state of the WWE. We mentioned, I believe it was in our first, maybe second episode, how promising the tag team division has been looking recently. And this video, or this next section, is going to contain a few spoilers for SmackDown, so if you're the kind of person that cares about that, then you may want to stop listening. But apparently, the tag team division is just completely in shambles now. In one week, they've managed to make me kind of give up hope on the tag team division, because we got the New Age Outlaws back for a little bit. They're the current champions, and like I said, I have no problem with that. But if they're going to break up Cody Rhodes and Goldust, most likely for a WrestleMania match that they've been wanting with each other, and that's fine. I fully expected that. But they broke up the primetime players on SmackDown this Friday, and that pisses me off because I fucking love those dudes. But when they turned babyface, man, they were entertaining as all hell. But now apparently, I guess they lost a match on SmackDown, and then Titus O'Neil got pissed off, said that Darren Young was holding him back, and then he just started beating the shit out of him. So now we got Titus O'Neil as a heel. But there's a good chance that they're going to feud for a little bit, and probably Titus is going to go over because he's the big one.
Wait a minute, wasn't this the same thing that happened with the Crime Time player? The Crime Time?
Of course.
I was about to call them Crime Time players.
I mean, it pretty much is the Crime Time players. They don't. That's one of the only, breakup angles that they do, but it sucks because the primetime players could have been a really fun and entertaining tag team, and I thought that after Rhodes and Goldust had their nostalgia reign and then had their breakup and got over Cody and stuff, so he's like an actual singles wrestler contender now that people take seriously.
Right.
I thought that after that was over and Goldust had his time in the limelight, they were going to actually go back and have the tag division mean something, because you had primetime players, Real Americans, fucking the Usos, of course. Even 3MB, I guess, if you want to consider them.
Then everyone else that's just consists of two superstars like Big Show and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and I don't count them.
Nah.
They're already no longer a tag team. Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara would make more sense as a tag team.
Yeah, I think Brock Lesnar and Steel Chair would too.
But yeah, they broke up primetime players. They're teasing a breakup of the Real Americans. And to me, that's even more of a disappointment, because I know a lot of people are loving Cesaro now, because he's actually starting to get over with the fans, and obviously Jack Swagger isn't, because he's still Jack Swagger. But this was a team or still is technically, of heels that the crowd still loves because they're funny. Like Zeb Coulter, he's a great fucking racist heel manager because he like when at the Royal Rumble when both Jack Swagger and Cesaro came out, and obviously Zeb couldn't cut a promo like he normally does because it's the Rumble.
Yeah.
So instead, he walked out there with a sign, held it up as he ran to the ring, and that was it. And those two instances were hilarious. Like it was just a short sentence, and it was already better than anything Randy Orton's ever said. In my opinion, of course. But they're already trying to break up these guys. And it's a little disheartening because even though, yeah, Cesaro does deserve bigger and better things, hell, Jack Swagger deserves bigger and better things. But, like, keep them as a team. Like, you found something that works. Don't be so quick to just get rid of it to give somebody a singles push.
It's a pretty elaborate team too, because Zeb Coulter really contributes a lot to their characters.
Hell yeah, he's the perfect example of when you give a tag team, neither guy can talk. You give them a good manager who can, and it's great. It's fantastic. You know, that's why I thought Paul Heyman was wasted on CM Punk during the heel run. Because CM Punk can talk already. What the fuck do you need Heyman there for?
Yeah, he works better with Lesnar. The Beast Incarnate.
Right. Oh, definitely. Like, Brock Lesnar can talk to some extent, but he's not a talk guy.
Yeah.
That's a different subject. But, yeah. So basically what it's looking like is if we do have that payoff moment at WrestleMania where the old veterans, New Age Outlaws, drop their title to a younger tag team, we got two options. We got the Usos or fucking three-man band.
No, Usos.
Right.
Usos look like they would have the biggest payoff if they competed at WrestleMania and won the titles. Yeah.
Like, they deserve it, big time.
Yeah.
But who are they going to feud with? When 3MB's gone, who the fuck are they going to feud with? Not 3MB. When New Age Outlaws are gone, who are they going to feud with? Fucking three-man band the whole time? They're just going to have... Like, Jimmy and Jay versus Jinder Mahal and Drew.
Oh, no.
But this week it's going to be fucking Heath Slater and Drew. The next week it's going to be Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal.
Just keep trying different combinations till it's a 3-on-2 tag team match.
Right. So what happened? Like, it was so promising, and now it's just immediately the tag team division is barren again.
I'm worried about it, actually, because... when I saw Goldust and Cody have the titles, I thought that was going to make the division a lot legit again. And then they're about to lose them. They do get a rematch on Raw here where they're going to be in a cage match.
Oh, they're not going to win it back. They're already setting up for their WrestleMania match, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Because with Goldust as like good as he is now, with Cody who's been good, I think they're going to make an awesome match at WrestleMania. It's going to be one of the highlights, especially if we're going to have to deal with Batista versus Randy Orton in the main event. This main event, this fucking WrestleMania is going to rely on the mid-card main events. And Cody Rhodes versus Goldust, that's got to happen at WrestleMania, most definitely.
You know what? I wonder if this is going to make WWE rethink their strategy in the future, like if all the mid-card matches steal the show and the main events don't, with Triple H and friends. That's a clear sign.
Well, let me tell you one thing. One thing's for damn sure, right? Fucking, you give us Randy Orton versus Batista in the main event at WrestleMania, you're going to have 75,000 people shitting all over this match.
Talking about we want divas.
Oh my god! Like, the fact if Bryan's not in this main event, like, it doesn't matter if it's a triple threat. If he's got to relive the Chris Benoit fucking angle,
I was thinking,
all it takes is to just put him in there, have him win the fucking thing. Oh my Christ, what's wrong with that? Fucking let him have a run. Like, even if he's not a good draw. What are you fucking talking about? Are you listening to these people?
Yeah, like the crowd is just gonna say, "Oh, we changed our mind. He's not as good
Right.
as we thought," even though they've been watching him this whole time.
Right, like, fucking hell. I don't understand. No one wants to, well, I guess I should rephrase it. Even the people who do want to see Randy Orton versus Batista, even a little bit, they would much rather see Daniel Bryan in there. And the only people that don't are people that hate Daniel Bryan, which, it takes all different kinds here in the world. But Daniel Bryan in that main event, winning the championship, that would be smart, big time.
You know what? I actually thought about this too. Like, I wonder if it would have to be a triple threat, because if Batista is technically a heel at this point, if you don't count WWE storyline, the fans don't like him, and he's flicking off people and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how are you gonna have a match with two heels? You might need a face to balance it out and win a championship.
That's what I'm saying. If it's just Batista versus Randy Orton, I can guarantee that crowd will not have it.
No, because I feel like some BS would ensue, like, "Hey, help me win the match."
Like, it's just so fucked up that this is what they went with. Why? Like, did they really think that in 2014, in today's WWE, that people want Orton versus Batista?
Right, and I can't even see the PG fans getting hyped for Batista, because it wasn't the same as when he first showed up.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, so it's like, if they didn't know who Batista was in 2003, and they didn't come in until like late 2008 or something like that, they just gonna say, "Well, he looks kind of old and weak."
Yeah, he looks like my grandpa.
Right.
Even with his shirt off, even those muscles, like, they're visibly there, but they don't feel like they're muscles. It just feels like if you poke them, they'll just kind of like
or something.
And like, I'm not discounting. Like, I'm not saying the guy's not a beast of a man. He obviously still is. I've seen grandpas that are made of twigs that could still like whip some ass. But
right.
Point is, like, he doesn't really have that spark that he used to have. The intensity's kind of gone.
What's funny is how WWE tries to hype up somebody who was gone for a long time, kind of like when they kept showing old RVD promos before he came back, and they've been showing all these old Batista promos when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
It's kind of like false advertisement in a way, because it's like, are we going to get the same thing in the video? Oh my god.
I mean, yeah. At least RVD, like, he hasn't changed one bit, I don't think.
Nah.
He's still doing the same shit he always did.
Yeah.
And Batista, I guess you could say he's still doing the same shit too, because he never really did much.
Yeah. One thing sorry to cut you off, but I was going to say one thing I did come across was that people noticed that he mainly went after the big dudes in the Royal Rumble match, which could mean he might only be capable of working with bigger dudes.
I don't think that's true. As far as overall, I think the big thing is that when you're a big dude working with another big dude, except when it comes to actually time to lift up the other dude, I don't imagine that you're really expending too much energy. Because when it's a big dude working a big dude style versus another big dude working a big dude style, what are you doing? You're putting in headlocks, you're punching a few times, maybe you take a shoulder block bump, maybe. But it's a slow match, and you can catch your breath easy with that. But like, if you expect Batista to get in there, like, without ever touching a ring for 4 years, he's 45 now.
Yeah, 45.
You expect him to just like start taking Hurricane Ranas and shit? No.
I'm just imagining that.
Right.
Like, he wouldn't even be trying to sell it. He'd be in real pain probably.
Right. You wouldn't have to sell it if you're Batista in this situation. You're going to be in pain. And I also noticed on his return on Raw, like the very first day he returned, when he came back out, and power bombed Alberto Del Rio. He just did a power bomb. That wasn't a Batista bomb.
Right.
He didn't sit out. He just power bombed.
You ain't Kevin Nash. Calm
Right.
down.
So I don't remember if he did it during the Rumble. I wasn't really paying a lot of attention. But
I don't really recall seeing a Batista bomb during the Rumble.
right. So can he even do his fucking finisher anymore? Like, at least during his return, you could at least make the excuse that he didn't want to sit out during the Batista bomb because he didn't want to rip his jeans. You know, maybe they're expensive jeans. I don't know. I can relate though.
Like the shades.
Yeah. But if this guy can't even do his finisher right, that kind of throws up a red flag a little bit.
Yeah, should he be in the main event? How's he gonna win? You know, is he gonna just powerbomb Randy Orton?
Yeah, it's just going to be a power bomb. That's all it's going to be. He's going to turn into Kevin Nash. Oh, the jackknife.
An inverted powerbomb from the second rope.
Oh, jeez. No, we don't want Batista climbing ropes. I think that's that. I think, and actually, now that I think about it, that might be the one thing that would make me less mad about him winning the Rumble. Maybe the only reason he didn't get eliminated is because after he got in there, he was like, oh man, I can't go over this fucking top rope. I can't do it. Too old. My bones will turn into dust. I've been working out for years. It's finally caught up with me.
Oh man.
Yeah, like he couldn't, like, he's like, you want me to what? You want me to fly over the top rope? Am I cruiserweight? No.
Right. Man.
I'm either gonna win this thing, or you're gonna have to come in here and send somebody to actually throw me out.
That's too funny.
Have Corporate Kane pull double duty and be like, fuck it, let's pull him out too.
I remember when it was down to him and Roman Reigns, when he attempted the spear, it was like super sloppy.
Oh man.
And then Roman Reigns like said, "This is how you do a spear."
Honestly though, when it comes to a spear, it's about 98% the actual victim who's got to sell it. So I kind of blame Reigns on that one. I don't know if he knows how to take the spear as much as he knows how to give it.
Right. Well, it's not my move. I'm not supposed to get hit by this.
Yeah. So it's like, what the fuck? Like you're having Batista throw out spears and shit. Roman Reigns, that's his finisher. You know, like you don't really see that too often.
I wonder, was it even planned to get speared by Batista like that?
Maybe. I don't know. But all I know is it was a botch. It looked silly. But I don't blame Batista for that one. You know, I'm not going to sit here and trash him like everything was his fault. But
yeah,
you know, I kind of blame Reigns for that one. But I mean, as far as like vicious looking spears goes, Roman Reigns knows how to fucking dish one out.
Especially at short range, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after Edge left, I was kind of upset that we weren't going to see spears anymore. And then, you know, we got Roman Reigns, and I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'll deal with it.
Yeah, he fits so many roles with just his character. What else? Now, it's funny because it was almost like we were teased when we had Roman Reigns because, you know, he's obviously the second fan favorite behind Daniel Bryan. That was the most likely to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Roman Reigns, he was definitely a favorite after everyone found out that Daniel Bryan wasn't going to be in it, and CM Punk got fucking eliminated. So it was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
We got Batista, Sheamus, and Roman Reigns.
How often do you see a babyface get booed and a heel get cheered?
Yeah. Yeah, both the baby faces, like Sheamus and.
Sheamus I mean, like Roman Reigns and Batista, when it was down to them two, they were cheering for Reigns and booing Batista.
It was all Reigns, and I knew it the second that Reigns landed that spear, and he was getting ready to pick up Batista to throw him out. I knew it was going to be a reversal. Like I was like, this is right here.
Yep.
This is how it's working. And Reigns got eliminated. You know, speaking of the Shield, I've started to get such a big level of respect for each one of those guys, like especially Seth Rollins, because he was like kind of the odd man out. Like not many people looked at him, but like I think he was kind of like the glue that held the Shield together a little bit.
Right.
Like in kayfabe at least, like you can kind of think that maybe he was the one that brought them together. Like no one in the Shield was the leader, but you could kind of think that maybe he was the guy that kind of brought those dudes. Like and I'm talking purely kayfabe here. I'm not talking like in real life, but I think that all three of those guys are friends, obviously. But if you were to ask Dean Ambrose in character who his best friend is, he'd probably say Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to ask Roman Reigns, the character, who his best friend is, it would probably be Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just because like he's the guy that's always trying to, break up arguments and stuff. It's always Dean Ambrose arguing with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I see that a lot too.
And they started calling him the technician. Wait, no, the architect. Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like it kind of seemed like Seth Rollins was probably the guy that was going to get the short end of the stick after breaking up with the Shield. But I don't want to see any of these three guys like wallow away in Dolph Ziggler land after the breakup. Like
it's like we talked about on previous episodes. It's a weird thought seeing them in regular wrestling tights. Like Seth Rollins in some bright, pants or something.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. Like I like that dark SWAT team ring attire. I really do, because it reminds me of
Attitude Era. Yeah.
It does a little bit, because in the Attitude Era, we had a lot of guys wrestling in clothes. Yeah, but nowadays everyone's wearing the same shit. Like the only thing that distinguishes you from the rest is if your muscles are ridiculous, or you've got tattoos everywhere, or both.
Right. Or in your logo on the back of your trunks.
Like everybody is wearing trunks, same boots, fucking elbow pads, short hair. It's like, damn, dude, come on.
It's like etiquette or something.
Yeah, so now you got the Shield, fucking a bunch of unkempt wild man looking motherfuckers. Two of them have long hair. They're wearing like a SWAT getup.
Unkempt wild man motherfuckers.
Right, and they look good. Like all of them are appealing to the eye because, like, we're both men, right? We watch wrestling because we love wrestling.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to step back and just realize I'm sitting here watching two guys basically in underwear groping all over each other.
Right, yeah.
And,
I thought about that too.
So yeah, it's like it's not a big deal because like it's just wrestling, but when you got guys like the Shield who are still doing the same thing, putting on the same thing, but are fully clothed, it's a lot better. Like, do we really got to see everybody shirtless? Is that a requirement?
Yeah, it's not like that's a thing. Like, if we take off the shirt, they get more cheers or some shit.
I mean, unless you're Kurt Angle or The Undertaker, where pulling off the straps means that shit just about to get real. But, yeah, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too progressive here. Like,
unless like Randy Orton and everybody else pulls a Stang and keeps the shirt on when they wrestle.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, that's something we'll probably talk about like in the future. But yeah, like right now we're not really too sure on it, so I don't think we should throw it in here at the end. We're already running out of time here.
Yeah. We're getting to our usual hour, a little bit over 7-10 minute mark.
Yeah. So it's probably a good idea to end it here. We really don't got anything else to talk about, but I mean, overall, it's been a pretty sad week for wrestling, and it hasn't even been a full week yet. It's been what, three days since Sunday?
Yeah, like SmackDown hasn't aired. Well, I mean, if you can watch it online, but it hasn't aired on television yet.
You can watch it online, really?
Well, some people put it online or whatever.
Oh, huh. Don't pirate, kids.
Don't. I'm not saying the pirate. Just yeah,
Who do we care? It's not like WWE's
yeah,
listening to our conversations. If they did,
right.
maybe they'd do something right.
Yeah, there's Impact. Yeah.
Impact. Oh.
All we have to say is Wrestling Figure Mayhem Part 2.
Yeah. Basically, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
For now. The only good thing about Impact was that Sting's gone, and Rude versus Kurt Angle was a pretty good match. That's it. That's all you got to say about Impact. Next week we'll have something more to say about it because we'll actually have some storyline progression going on. Oh, maybe. Oh, also, we got Austin Aries as X Division champion, which really right now is probably one of the only reasons to watch Impact.
Yeah, he's the ex-intercontinental champion of the world.
The Exter-Continental champion.
Exter-Continental champion. Yeah.
All right. Well, we better get off this show before fucking people start getting too bored, which I'm sure they already have, unless they're fans for some reason.
Yeah. Do you have a Diva of the Week?
Diva of the Week. See, I've tried to start Lunakage's random shit of the week, but then it ended up being all about women, which is funny when you think about it. But I guess I'll try to think of more random shit later. But as far as divas go, shit. I guess this week I'm gonna go with Molly Holly.
Yeah.
Not because she's one of my all-time favorites, but because she was definitely underappreciated.
Uh-huh.
I liked Molly Holly a lot. Even after she was bald, I would have hit it. Big time. Mighty Molly. It's always nice to see a woman in superhero outfit.
Yeah, she was one of the better female wrestlers.
Oh, she was good, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up so people don't fall asleep.
Right. Assuming they're still awake now. All right, well, you just heard MAWS Talks Wrestling, Episode 4. I've been your co-host, Lunakage.
Ben Glenburg.
And we will see you next week.
See you guys. Tune in later.
Yeah.